Welcome to the Asset Coach and Tax Strategist YouTube channel. If you're a subscriber, thanks so much for subscribing. If you're a first-time viewer, thank you for spending your time here with us. If you like our content, please give us a thumbs up. For you new folks, Asset Coach Tax Strategist YouTube channel is based on the book Economic Termites. This is a book that I wrote a few years ago talking about taxes, inflation, time, laws, and regulations. Also, I wrote a second book called Farming Assets. Those two books is really what this whole channel is about, addressing those situations and how they affect you and I in our ability to grow our wealth. So, as an asset coach and tax strategist, my name is Robert Wolf. I am the CEO and founder of Terra Firma Business and Financial Consultants and its affiliates. We have a bunch of companies that we've built out this ecosystem surrounding the basis of what we talk about on this YouTube channel. So, if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. We drop episodes every Thursday. Again, if you are, thanks so much, and let's get into this next episode. All right, welcome to another episode of Asset Coach and Tax Strategist. Part 3 is here. We're here. So let's go through a quick little summary of what we discussed, what we went through, and then let's dive into part 3 and see if we can get this marked off the box. Love this. So the first part was the trade deficit. We discussed and talked about America's $425 billion trade deficit by product. I gave my opinion on things that could probably be reshored here. Last episode was reshoring investments in the U.S. And Made in America is back. And what's that look like in the investment of reshoring from not just countries, but companies investing dollars and billions of dollars back in the U.S. and getting citizens the opportunity to produce goods and services and giving us citizens the opportunity to buy our goods and services. Number 3 is the U.S. states. Which states are gaining the most jobs from reshoring? And this is going to continue that great migration. What was the great migration? Well, in COVID, we had a lot of people start migrating to other states because they got sick of the decisions, the political decisions that certain states were making, and people decided to uproot and go other places, myself included. I left California. We've had some episodes talking about people leaving California. So the goal now is to talk about which states are going to gain the most jobs from this reshoring. And this is pretty significant. So this should tell us where people move to. Many companies are reshoring jobs back to America, including Walmart, 300,000, Apple, 20,000, CMA CGM, not sure who that is, but there's 10,000, GE Aerospace, 5,000, Stellantis, 1.5 thousand, 1,500, GE Vernavo, not sure what that is, but 1,500, and then Siemens, 900. And this is just a reshoring of 2024 annual report from the White House. Projections for 2025 based on results are from first quarter. So there's a lot more that we can look at. But when we look at the whole reshoring conversation, we have this conversation look at Texas is number 1, South Carolina. Now, one of the things we discussed was in California, people leaving California, right? So blue states are going to really start hemorrhaging more and more. So Texas is going to get the majority. South Carolina, North Carolina is going to get some. We got Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas getting, Florida getting, which is great. Michigan, great. Love to see the great state of Michigan getting manufacturing back. Let's see. We got the 2 top states of Wisconsin and Minnesota, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Love seeing that. Get you guys getting back on the map here, and as well as Kentucky. So Utah, love seeing Utah here. I think this is great. I think this whole reshoring conversation, this dialogue, again, this is going to be, these numbers are going to increase. They're going to increase significantly. And what's going to happen too in this increase is unemployment is going to start going down. We're going to get to full employment, and that full employment number is going to change. It's evolved over a period of time, and full employment does lead to inflation. So inflation does cause the Fed to make decisions, monetary decisions, and this is a lot of what Trump's been trying to do with cutting taxes and the tariffs and all this fun stuff that we're discussing or have discussed in previous episodes, and that's been going on, is that when we start looking at this reshoring, full employment, inflation starts going up, we start looking at monetary policies to adjust inflation to allow citizens to earn a revenue, earn income. For us citizens to be able to purchase our own goods and services, and not every single thing we pick up says made in China, made in China, made in China, made in China. Okay. I like seeing things made in Mexico. I like seeing things made in Alabama. I like seeing things made in the U.S. I love driving the cars that I drive because they were made and assembled here in the U.S. I think it's fantastic. There are certain things that I think should continue to be made offshore. Like one of the things I talked about in episode one was clothing. Why? It's a basic need every human needs. And I feel like clothing should be manufactured in areas where there's a low cost of manufacturing so people all over the world can get access to clothing. Do we here in the States overpay for our clothing? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we buy certain name brands and all that kind of stuff. But that's our choice. We get to do that. There are people around the world that don't have a choice. They wear hand-me-downs. You see them wear clothing that you probably have worn for 5, 6 years, you gave away, and all of a sudden somebody across the world is wearing that clothing, and that is their best clothing they've ever had. Everybody should have that basic need. So when we're talking about this process, we're talking about this conversation, what the current administration's been doing is it's over multiple layers. It's like 5D chess, not even 4D chess, not even 3D chess. It's like 5D chess. This current administration is looking at so many different aspects and areas, which is why a lot of the conversation about Powell and lowering interest rates is so important, based on liquidity, based on decisions that were made back in early 2000 and banks holding liquidity at the Fed. There's over $1 trillion sitting at the Fed in liquidity that could go into the marketplace. But banks are earning interest on this, and the reality is that you and I as citizens should have the benefit of these decisions, these economic decisions. We deserve this. We're the ones that vote our politicians in. We're the ones that are slaving away on a daily basis, going to work and doing whatever things we're doing, raising our families and whatever we do. So I think all these decisions are for you and I. And I find it odd that people are mad about that. Mad about somebody who's saying, I care about you and I want you to have the best. Why are we mad at that? Who cares who says it other than they are saying it and actually doing it, taking actions. Now, there's two sides of a coin. If you and I, as taxpayers, are putting money into areas that are fraudulently being used, and it does create jobs for people, and those people do lose their jobs due to this fraudulent stuff, whether they knew it or not, unfair if they didn't know it. Absolutely. But you know what? If they're able to work a job there, they're able to work a job somewhere else. Stop your whining and bitching, put on your big boy pants, and go back and get a job. Because the reality is the majority of the taxpayers paying for fraud and the things that have been coming out over the last few years, you should be pissed. You should be mad that you were hired to do a job, people who took advantage of you. Yes, you had a job. Yes, you put food on the table, but they took advantage of you. You should be pissed, not mad at somebody who made the decision to call them out for doing that. But I get it. We don't like the name Trump. We don't like the person. I don't know. I think his actions are speaking louder than really what's happening. And I think the majority of us are in agreement that these are things that need to happen. And if you don't like it, Leave. Leave. There's plenty of other countries that would love to have you there. Absolutely. Well, this is my home, Bob. You can't tell me to leave. No, I'm not telling you to leave. I'm just saying if you don't like it, leave. I didn't like what California was doing. I left. I don't hate America for it. I didn't go burn down my town because I didn't like what California was doing. I acted like an adult and I made a decision and I acted on the decision. And I'm living with the consequences of that decision. Wow. Sounds very adult like. Well, welcome to adulthood. The moment you hit 18, you get to do that. So, do I think all of this reinvestment back in the US is good? Yes. Do I think everything that we used to manufacture it should be manufactured here? No. Do I think all of our food should be farmed and raised here? Yes, I do. I feel like it is national security. That's my opinion. No foreign government should own farmland. Period. No foreign government should own our US companies that process our foods. Period. There's no reason for 7 companies to basically be making all the food and processing all the food in the world. That is a national security. That should not happen. So rather than focusing on oil or some of these other buzzwords, we should be looking at that. Until you and I can go plant and raise our own food and process our own food and make all our own food, until that happens, it should be national security. Plain and simple. I wouldn't have said this 5 years ago or even 10 years ago, but with everything that's happened and that's occurred, I think it's the most logical thing to say. So hopefully you like their content. If so, give us a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. And what's going to happen next episode? I don't know. We just finished our 3-part series. We kept it short, kept it succinct, kept it to the point. Thank you so much for investing your time with me here. Go make it a great day.